And so that's where my vote will be with Gatehouse. I just can't basically hand over someone else's vision work to somebody else. That's just where I'm at. It's more of a ethic thing more than a fiduciary.
And if you want to raise taxes to your children or whoever's children are here in 20 years, there's a good chance a lot of us won't be here, and vote for Gatehouse.
On our October 17th council meeting, Mr. Trout thoroughly walked through the entire development agreement. We didn't vote on anything on it tonight, but it was a special item on the agenda where he walked through the entire thing. At the close of that meeting, it had up and down support at this table.
Mr. Mayor, I'm going to take a minute, Bill. Or I'm going to take a minute. You okay with that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, good, thanks. All right, folks. So, to be clear, this was not Gatehouse's vision. They're right about that. And you guys know it. It's galling that that is out there. In all honesty, Gatehouse tried to pull out of supporting Mason City Foundation. Mr. Trout and I had to go and talk to the council members and see if we could potentially keep them in the deal. It's exhausting to hear this many mistruths. They keep happening over and over, and it has to stop. And this is not a great deal. There's no money from Texas in it. I'm tired of hearing about Texas. There's no money from Texas in it. Yeah, Texas has built a bunch of hotels, $1 billion worth maybe. But they're not in this deal. It's a Minnesota LLC formed by a guy by the name of Mr. Kaiser. It's just a one little off. They both have the same address up in Minnesota. There's no security. The security they have is the Mason City Chamber Foundation. Well, they can't cover this money. And it's a fact. They can't cover it. They're not even close to being able to cover it. There's no security there. We did it to get the project to continue to move forward as we went, knowing that in the end, we were either going to get a good deal, and the previous deal we had was a good deal. I was willing to sign that deal. But in the end, we got pushed, and we did get pushed. Mr. Trout was beyond pushed to move and close this out. And we did, and we closed it out in the last few hours, and we voted to move forward and start the 30-day clock again. That's the reality of it. It was not the city of Mason City. It was not. So this project cannot have my support. It won't have my support. There's lots to say. People have made some pretty good arguments tonight. But these guys, Gatehouse hasn't even fulfilled the pre-development agreement yet. I've taken it to I don't know how many experts in town that aren't even interested parties, and they're baffled by it. They're baffled by it. And we've told all these guys up here that. We've told them all. So I hope that we're going to see a change of course. But at the end of the day, this is about the taxpayers. People voted for a project. Gatehouse was not on the ballot. I understand there's an emotion around it. But just because there's an emotion around it doesn't make it reality. But I'm offering a commitment to my colleagues here. This is not going to be signed. So, anybody on response?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask for a 5-minute recess.
Sure.
Do realize the votes aren't there for Gatehouse, so I am willing to throw my support behind G8 now.
But I think this should be unanimous. It's hard to pull off. They'll do what New York did and just abstained from the Declaration of Independence and still made it unanimous.
I think by going with G8, I firmly believe that we're securing the best deal for the taxpayers and the citizens of Mason City, and I stand with that.
All right. A motion and a second. Ms. Schickel.
Yes.
Mr. Masson.
Yes.
Mr. Lee. I'll make it unanimous.
I will. I'll abstain.
Ms. Solberg.
Yes.
Mr. Adams.
Yes.
Mr. Hickey.
Yes.